and welcome along to the Invincible podcast, brought to you today by Who Knows Wins. Big up to my man Lee in the build. Who won last week?
Well, let's get this right. Like you only got 3.
How do you get?
I got 4. So it's a win for the judge again. Like,
I don't even class that as a win. So low.
I know you wouldn't class that as a win, but I do.
I wouldn't even class that as a win.
Pathetic 3.
4.
Yeah. I thought 4. I went and looked at 4. I said, "Oh, that's pathetic." But I realised the competition while I'm up, and there I was seeing you below me again. Like
Yeah. You know what? One of those games that I had as a nailed-on cert was Arsenal beating Brighton. And we all know how that went. And we're going to have a little bit of chat about that and look forward to the game against Southampton. It's an absolute must-win game. Absolute must-win. But just before we dive into that, just to remind everybody, Who Knows Wins, you can jump onto the app right now and do the Pick 10. We talk about it every week. A chance to win £10,000. I'm going to tell my mate Ty to jump on it because he can pay back that £1,000 that he owes people, right? If he can get a couple of wins in it, he's in the studio, by the way. That's why I'm saying that. But basically, all you got to do is deposit £5, and you have a chance to win £5,000. You pick 10, right? There's 10 games you pick. Just going through my selection for this week, I'm a bit unsure about a few of these, right? But I've gone for Man United
You're
to beat...
unsure every week, but there you go.
Man United to beat Norwich. If Man United don't beat Norwich, I mean, surely. But Norwich played all right last week against Burnley, but Man United at home, they've got to win that. Arsenal versus Southampton, I've, put faith in us to win it. 3 defeats in our last 5 games, man. It's all going wrong. Watford, Brentford, I've gone for a draw. What did you go for? I was a bit confused. But then Watford,
I went for a Watford win. I think they've got
serious?
Yeah, seriously.
They've been dreadful though, Watford, and Brentford have been brilliant. Beat West Ham last time out.
I look at it now. Brighton have been terrible. 7 defeats on the spin. So win. So
that's true.
Basically, this, if you go on form, you'll get 3 like you did. It's so tough.
Man City versus Liverpool.
I've gone Man City as well.
I've got Man City. Man City should have won that game last week. They're probably regretting not buying a striker now, right? Because if they would have been more clinical, they would have beaten. But then Liverpool have got quality. It's going to be a close game. Celtic, Rangers have gone Celtic. Newcastle, Leicester, I've gone Newcastle just because they're at home. West Ham, Burnley. I've gone for Burnley, because Burnley desperately need to win it, and West Ham are going to be coming off the back of a really tough game over in Lyon. And Chelsea, Palace, I've gone for Palace. Palace are on a good winning streak, and also, although they did lose last week, but they've won 4 of their previous 5, including us. And of course, Chelsea, off the back of a really tough assignment over there in Real Madrid, which they're a bit unlucky to lose, to be honest.
No Conor Gallagher, though.
No Conor Gallagher, that doesn't. Remember when Julian said that and everyone was having a go at him?
It is
a great point. Leverkusen, Leipzig draw. Sevilla versus Real Madrid. I've gone for a Real Madrid win. They're going to be on the high. So those are my picks. You can make your picks by clicking the link in the description. And get involved right now.
And if you beat Robbie, it ain't nothing special.
Listen to this guy. Are you something special?
Well, look, listen, I'm winning quite comfortably, in the stakes. But look, listen, it's a difficult game. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was. It
looks easy anyway.
Yeah, it does.
It's win. And then the way this Premier League goes, man.
4 times I think I was picking up at least 10 grand, but 4 times I haven't, I'm going to donate a little bit to Ty as well, so if I do get it, to give to Jason.
As I said, one game that let us down, not only in the pick 10, but let us down in the top 4 race. I still can't believe it. I'm still not really over it.
Nah.
There's been a couple of games this season that took me a while to get over. The Everton defeat, that took me a while to get over because, it was such a bad defeat. And then that one last week against Brighton, the Palace defeat, I was over. I was like, brush yourself down, bounce back.
Did. I was as well, yeah.
The Brighton one, I'm not over because it worries me. It worries me a lot, Lee. You know what I mean? I saw the Arsenal team from that Everton game. I saw the Arsenal team from earlier on in the season when there was no real pattern of play and nobody seemed to know what they're doing and there was no intensity. And I was a bit horrified with what I saw. I could not understand our game, which, you know, we look at and we say, right, we've got 8-9 cup finals left, was played with such low intensity. Brighton looked like the team going for the top 4, and we looked like the team that was just, you know, on the beach. It was a really, really poor performance. And with Thomas Partey out and with Tierney out, just 2 players missing, the deficiencies in Arsenal were just there to be seen. And I'll tell you what, we've got it. I then the next day watched the Liverpool Man City game, and after I watched that game, it didn't make me feel any better. It made me feel worse. It made me realise how far behind we are. Even watching that Chelsea Real Madrid game and Chelsea going over there, and we're far off those teams. I'm worried about that, but that's something that can be possibly fixed in the summer. But right now, I'm worried about if we can get the top 4. Tottenham going and winning, you know, 4-0.
I watched Huddersfield and Luton and I got worried. I'll tell you what, no, I am. Seriously, you know what I mean? How can I say this, you know what I mean? Like, the few results that we've had, I started to come around to thinking, you know, Mikel was the man and all that, like, you know. But after that, what he done on Saturday, I've got no faith whatsoever now.
What did he do wrong for you?
Well, listen, at the beginning of January, we was without Partey and Xhaka, right, against Brighton and Nottingham Forest. That was not his choice. So go and do what he done again, taking Xhaka out and putting him to left back. It's just totally baffling to me. Like, you know what I mean? You can never play Tavares again, because I'll tell you why.
Again?
No. Well, you know, if you can't trust Tavares against a team with 7 games, 7 games losing, 7 games without scoring a goal, you can't trust him at home. How can you trust him against Southampton away, Manchester United at home, Chelsea away, West Ham away? Yeah, when you can't trust him at home with a team that's on the back of 7 straight defeats. To relinquish all of our midfield, knowing that you've seen it before against teams in January, to do it again, I just think it's beyond belief. Now, I don't know if you noticed it because you was up in the box, that the atmosphere at the Emirates was shocking on Saturday, and I think the reason was because I got there late because I was doing a charity thing. The first thing I turned around and said, "What's the team?" And my mate who sits next to me turned around and said, "Xhaka's at left back." Disappointed, you know what I mean? Everybody knew it was the wrong decision before the game started. And what worries me even more about it, Robbie, and going into the next games and all that, is that we got completely overrun in that first half. Never looked like scoring. He never changed it. He come out in the second half and done it. Now the ruthlessness of him to take Tavares off at half time in the games before, nothing.
I mean, on the Granit Xhaka thing, I've got what he said about playing Granit Xhaka at left back. He said, especially the way I thought Brighton were going to play, the spaces that we wanted to attack, it fits really well to play Emile Smith Rowe in that position, midfield, and especially because we thought that space was going to be there as well for Granit to be used, which it was, but we didn't use it. After the game, when you lose, the decision that you made, you have to write before the match. After, it's too late. Well, like you said, you know, you can do it during the match as well.
You can do it during the match. You knew it didn't work. You knew it didn't work against Nottingham Forest and Burnley. So why do you think it's going to work against Brighton? You know, it's a ridiculous thing that he said. What really annoyed me about him is he's turned around and said to a young kid, "You got to learn by your mistakes." Well, what about you learning from your mistakes? Because it's not the first time that he's done this. A semi-final of the Europa League, he puts Xhaka in there. You know, I don't mind putting Xhaka in there if you've got Partey in there. But you not take the 2 midfield players out there that have really been dominating and winning your games. You know,
you know what the thing is. Sorry to cut across you, Randy, right? I was baffled as well, right? Because how I look on it is this: and you sort of referenced it slightly there. I look back to January, which January was a really bad month for Arsenal, right? And it was bad because we were missing the midfield. Remember, so Xhaka was out. Remember, he got stupidly suspended, so he missed those games. And Partey was out because he's at the African Cup of Nations.
Exactly.
And then when Partey came back, remember, he literally came back the same day and had to play.
Then got injured
the same day. No, he didn't get injured. He got sent off. Remember?
Oh, got sent off. That's
he got sent off because he
so he didn't play in the Burnley game. That's correct.
Yeah, and he was half cooked, and and then after that in Burnley, and we were literally playing Sambi Lokonga in midfield on his own, and everybody at that time said, you know what?
Doesn't work.
That don't work. You know what I mean? We spoke about how much we miss Partey and miss Xhaka in midfield, right? So what baffled me was we know that. We had a whole month when we saw that. Why go and do that again?
That is the criminal thing.
Why go and put Xhaka at left back now? You've taken him out of the midfield. Like you said, we're missing Partey. Nothing he can do about that. Partey's out injured. But put Xhaka and Sambi Lokonga in that midfield. You can't leave it like how it was the time when we were just overrun. And that's exactly what happened in that game. And I'm with you on the Tavares thing. I said when we were doing all the previews and everything like that to the game, I'm like, start Nuno Tavares. Brighton are on poor form, right? Start Nuno. Start him. This is going to be the game to start him. This is the game where he can get his confidence back, right? When Nuno Tavares was warming up, the fans were singing his name when he was warming up. Yeah. So the fans were still behind him. It's not like that everyone's lost confidence in him. Start the guy. And by not starting him, I think that was a grave error. And like you said, it's, do you put him in now in Southampton this week away?
Hey, I don't
can you play him can you play him in the Chelsea game? Can you play him because these are all tougher games. Can you play him in the Man United game? West Ham away? Is he? We brought him in as the replacement left back. All right, yes, he had a nightmare. But I don't know. His confidence is finished.
So did everybody. So did everybody have a nightmare at Crystal Palace. He was the only one to come off.
Or they could have even put him as a left wing. Could have played Saka further back.
100%.
Played him a bit more forward or made them alternate or something, man. Something a bit more creative. Decision, but not give up the midfield like what we did in January.
The one decision that he should never have ever made was that. Not because we're in hindsight. Everybody was saying it before the game. One of the reasons was because you've seen it in January, so you know that it doesn't work, right? So there's no excuse. He could have gone free at the back, right, and gone that way. He could have actually put Ben White at right back because he's done okay at right back. Put Cedric at left back. Chuck Saka in at left back, if he wanted to do and keep the midfield. Keep the midfield. Not putting in a 21-year-old, by the way, and I did say this on the last podcast, it wouldn't surprise me if he played El Neni, because the last time that Lokonga started a game was Burnley, right? At least with El Neni, he's had competitions in the African nations and World Cup qualifiers, but to put him in there at 21 years of age on his own, not only that, put Odegaard back into a position where he'd been playing really, really well in, and put then Smith Rowe into out of a position where he's been playing really well in. All I think, down at the end of the day, was to keep one man in the team. I'm going to be saying catering because, to keep in... The real thing is, if he plays Tavares at left back, he has to make a decision who he's going to drop. He's got to get Martinelli or Smith Rowe in the team. But what he's done, he got them all in the team at the expense of him, and at the expense of a result and expense of a midfield. You know what I mean? And by the way, Lacazette was as poor as Lokonga or Tavares in the last few games. There he is, staying on the pitch. I'm not having a go at Lacazette here, you know what I mean? He's just not doing the business at the moment. So how can you be ruthless to one young kid and not be ruthless in other areas? And this is man management.
And then also the other deficiency that got shown up is the fact that with a couple of players out, the team, I've been saying it for so long, great starting 11, that starting 11 can compete with most teams in the Premier League. Most, not the ones at the very top, but most of the teams.
Well, we competed with Man City.
Yeah, we can compete. But take a couple of those key players out,
and we're in trouble.
And we've seen that. And the problem is we could have addressed that in January, and we didn't.
We chose not to.
The key one, listen, I always look on it and say, right, they did try and buy a striker, right? And they couldn't get the striker that they wanted. Vlahovic, he ended up going to Juventus. And it is very difficult. I mean, a lot of people have been saying to me, yeah, but Robbie, you could have got Darwin Núñez, or you could have got... I said, no. Those guys, Darwin Núñez, for instance, is at Benfica. He's in the Champions League still. Look,
he ain't coming.
He's not leaving in January. He might, a lot of those players will leave in the summer.
Yeah, I get that.
But what we did, where we definitely went wrong, was not getting a midfielder
100%.
In January. And at the time, I remember Mikel Arteta was saying that we need a midfielder.
Yeah.
And they tried to go after Arthur. They didn't get him. They just didn't go for anyone else. And now we're seeing in the midfield area, Partey's out. And we know the guy has picked up loads of injuries.
Yeah, there's
just like we know Tierney has picked up loads of injuries.
That is the problem, Robbie. That is in a nutshell. You cannot rely on Partey. As good as he's been, there's that thing in your back of the mind that is going to break down. A recurrence of the same hamstring injury and all that. So you know that it could happen. You know that it can happen with Tierney. Tierney, by the way, is a big concern for me now. I'm going to say this. I love him as a player.
A lot of injuries.
We are playing one game a week. We're not playing one game on a weekend and then an intense game on a midweek, then back to an intense game at the weekend. He has not been able to go through this season with one game a week. This is his second breakdown as far as injuries are concerned. It's a big concern, massive concern.
It is.
Same with Partey. So you know at the end of the day you've got to replace Partey. And knowing in January when Partey wasn't there, it's a mistake.
He was asked about that as well, Mikel Arteta. He says with all the team available, we know how difficult the challenge is that we have ahead, that's for sure. Those two injuries, big injuries, make the situation more complicated, but we cannot look at that because we're going to be looking for excuses. And what happened today, when he was talking about the game last week, is down to us and the players that we have and the way we prepare for the game. That's fair enough, but you can also, your job is to foresee the issues ahead. And I could see it in January, you could see it, a lot of fans could see it, that we're leaving ourselves short in that area, because as soon as Partey came back into the midfield and was playing well, it was a whole different ball game. The way the team was moving. So we've left ourselves, and then now this is now the business end of the season.
The key point to this is, and it's like when you lose a top player, the chances are the player coming in is not going to be at the level of that player. Say if Spurs were to go out and lose Harry Kane, the player coming in for Harry Kane is going to be nowhere near at the same level as him. It's the same with Partey. When Partey comes out, you can't expect a young kid of 21 years of age to come in and do exactly what he does. And so it's an unfair on the kid. So give him the tools and the proper things around him to help him out. Not take away your best midfield player after Partey, and you know what I mean. Like, people can criticise Granit Xhaka as much as they want. He does a decent job for Arsenal. I don't care whatever they say. But also, this is Sunday morning stuff. I think at the end of the day, you know what I mean. Like, you walk up on a Sunday. Our left back ain't turned up. Oh, can you play there this week? Like, can you do this? You're a professional football club at the top level. You have backups. You have people in different positions. You know, if Rob Holding gets injured, if Ben White gets injured, you ain't going to put Lacazette at centre half, are you? You're going to put Rob Holding there. Because that's what it should be like, you know what I mean? So you've got a backup left back, you play him. I think it's a horrendous decision from a manager, and I notice no one defending that this week. You know what I mean? Like, making excuses for it and all that. Like, ultimately, he has 10 games now, Robbie, he has these games now to prove himself. I'm sorry, he's got to go out there and somehow get a result against Southampton. Because at the end of the day, if we don't beat Southampton and we don't beat Man United and we lose to Chelsea, we're going to be about 10 points off of Tottenham. That ain't acceptable. It's not acceptable at any level, you know what I mean? And if we was to come out of the top 6 now from this, there's heads have got to roll. One, because of the January decisions, and won because of what's going on now. You know, people say to me, well, wait until he gets his own players in. He's had his own players and we win games, which is great. But you're not going to have your players all the time, Robbie. You are going to get injuries.
I think, listen, and also, you know, this wait until he gets his own players in, that takes time, right? And, you know, I think, you know, Mikel Arteta's now had 2 seasons. We finished 8th. He has to have an improvement on that this year. And I don't think 7th is good.
No,
I think, I agree with you, top 6 finish. At least, but we shouldn't be. You know, we've had a great chance. And listen, it's not over yet. I know maybe we're sounding a little bit too doom and gloom, but there's reasons to be worried about getting into that top 4 now because of the performances. That's what you look at. You look at well, I've always been very optimistic that Arsenal could make the top 4 in the past, say, 6-7 weeks, because I've been looking at the performances and I've been saying this team is playing good football. It's cohesive. They know what they're doing, the way they move the ball around. This is great football we're playing. So I'm confident that we can go out and beat such and such. At the moment, now I've gone back into that mode where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we could, maybe we can't. It depends who turns up. You know, the confidence is gone a bit with the fans. The confidence is gone definitely with the players. And I couldn't believe, as I said, the lack of intensity going into that game. For Pete's sake, they just, you know, heard that or saw that United have lost to Everton. So that was a chance to put a 6-point gap with a game in hand between us and Man United, and we didn't take it. You know what I mean? We could have put that same gap between us and West Ham, who then went on to lose the next game. You know, I'm just like, you know, it's not the confidence. Now, it's what does Mikel Arteta do now to turn this around? Now he has to get a bit more creative with the team.
Yeah, that's right.
And then also, just before I get onto the creative side of it, right, is that we have a problem now. And then again, this is another problem that, you know, we're going to probably maybe look back on and... Well, I've already heard people, you know, we've been debating it this week, even around the office and stuff like that. Lacazette, you know, he's horribly off form at the moment. You know, the last 2 games he's been anonymous. And before that, he was playing well. You know what I mean? He was linking up, playing well and stuff like that, but he's not scoring goals. You need killers up front in football, man. I saw Tottenham the other day in their game. They were getting dominated for the first part of that game by Aston Villa. But you know what? Villa didn't take their chances because they've got a good forward players, but they're not killers. When the chances came along for Tottenham, bang, 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 they win the game, right? I watched the Man City Liverpool game the other day. City completely on top of the game. Dominating the game, right? But what did Liverpool have?
First chance. Bang.
One chance, bang, Jota, boom. Back in it. Second half, bang. You know what I mean? Mane. They got killers. I watched the Chelsea Real Madrid game. I think Chelsea had something like 40 shots or 30 odd shots in that game, yeah? But what do they have at Real Madrid? Yeah. Killer. Yeah. Benzema. Bang. Now, we haven't got that, and we knew again in January we didn't have that, right? But we ain't got that, right? And this is a problem now, because what that means is if you're not going to win if you play badly. Yeah, no. you know some teams sometimes, they haven't had a great game.
Covers up 1,000 sins.
But, yeah, they got those killers that can get them out of the situation. We ain't got that, so we have to play well. We have to play well to win games, right? And that's what worries me, because Lacazette at the moment... You know, I mean, how many goals of those players scored? And then the guy that we let go, he scored 10 goals in 15 games. I'm not saying it was wrong to let him go. We don't know the problems that were going on in, you know, whatever's happening. But I still said it at the time that I would have tried to put an arm around him at least till the end of the season and say, listen, because if we can't get a replacement, can't just let those goals go out the door and not replace them, because that's exactly what's happening. We have not replaced those goals. How many goals between our strikers have they scored since he's left? One. And not one from open play. That's shocking.
what's happened, and the problem that we've got is that we've played off a security of a sound back four, right? But because of the injuries to our two fullbacks now, that has made that shaky.
Yeah, there's Tommy Asu who's been out for ages as well.
So what happens is where we could pick up 1-0 wins and maybe like keep it clean sheets of 1-0 to 2-0 wins and things like that. We haven't got that stability now. We look vulnerable at the back. So we've got to, I think now, in games where we could win games by 1 goal, to win games now we can't afford to concede. And we also have got to score 2 goals. We haven't got that in our game now. So for me, it's really down on Mikel now to change things around. And I think that he
has to get creative now with
his team. He's got to get creative with the team. So for me, you either go to a back 3 now, and if you're not going to go with the fullbacks, to try and shore it up that way. Take a gamble if Tommy Asu is fit, chuck him in now and put Cedric over to the left back. That's an option that they've got. They're saying that Tommy Asu is not going to be fit till after this game. If you're not fit after, how can you not be fit on a Saturday but then be fit for the Wednesday? I don't see how that works. But anyway, what he needs to do that, but he needs to get creative up front. And for me, I think that is now Martinelli goes up top. Or Pepe comes in. People keep saying to me, Pepe can't do what Lacazette does. He can't do no worse. He cannot do no worse than what he done on Saturday. 7 touches, he lost the ball. Listen, I've watched teams in the last few weeks bully us, physical centre forwards. He hasn't got that. I'm not saying that's his game, but we can't bully, physically get into players and all that. I think if we had someone like Tony up front, we'd be all right. He might not score the goals we got, but he could unsettle those defenders, and that would allow Saka and all that. Saka has lost a little bit of form in the last couple of games. I think maybe because he's a little bit jaded or whatever. So it wouldn't be.
I don't even think it's that, though, Lee. I think it's because there's too much on him.
Well, yeah, that as well. Take the pressure off him a little bit.
When you're a winger. And teams know you're dangerous. They put 2 free players on you, and that's what Brighton did that very very well.
They haven't got to worry about the one, and they haven't got to worry about the Lacazette, have they? But they would have to if they got Martinelli.
They're not that worried about Lacazette, so you can leave like a 1 sort of centre back on him. You can send 2 free people out to deal with Saka, 2 free people out to deal with Martinelli. We don't interchange. Because Lacazette can't really play that role.
No, that's a great point.
Right, that's so and personally, I'd start Eddie against Southampton. I think the last 2 games that Eddie Nketiah's come on, he's looked lively. He had that header right at the end of the game. He looked lively when he came on against Palace. He hit the crossbar. Right, again, it's what we've got. It's what we decided to stick with. Play him. Well, start Eddie Nketiah. Start Eddie Nketiah against Southampton. That's what I do.
That's a magnificent point. I'll tell you why that's a great point, because we're sitting here going, you're taking players out of different positions to play the left back and all that. You play your backup left back. Well, he's the backup centre forward.
Listen, so
that's a great point.
Listen, basically,
I think it's right now, but it's a great point.
In January, the decision was made to Mikel Arteta, Edu, whoever the other decision makers are, that we can't see anybody else out there better than what we've got that we could get right now. So we're going to stick with what we've got. We think we've got enough firepower with Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, blah blah blah. Play them then, right? Play Eddie. If Lacazette is off form, why are we persisting with him? Take him out of the firing line for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? You don't want fans starting to turn on him and stuff like that. He's a very important player, and I know he's been the captain as well. Take him out of the firing line. Everybody can get off form. And put Eddie in there. You never know. That could be, sometimes, a player has a moment where he can have a streak of 2-3 games where he's banging in the goals or whatever. Put Eddie, the last couple of games he's come on, for me, he has looked the most dangerous of all the players.
Yeah.
I'm on about of all the front 3. I know they're only cameos.
I'm not arguing with you on that.
We've got to try something else now. We can't just stick with what we've got. We've got a bit of a, because of the injuries, it's been thrown into a bit of turmoil.
I remember when Man United was struggling. for players and all that. They chucked in Rashford, unknown. He scored a few goals, 3 or 4 goals unknown.
I've seen them do that a couple of times this
Harry
season.
Kane, when he first came in, they had Salgado, weren't scoring goals, chucked him in, and look what happened. So
I've even seen United a couple of times this season with that Elanga guy, where they've thrown him in and said, right, and he's done all right.
Yeah.
Throw Eddie in. I mean, to me...
Well, again, if Eddie doesn't play this week, he's never going to play.
Yeah.
Is that true? You know what I mean? Listen, I don't think, if it was me, I would go with Martinelli. But if he goes with Eddie in there, I'll go along with that. I watched Martinelli on the weekend. There are times when he's restricted on the wide. He can only go one way. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if he goes the other way, he runs out off the pitch. So I think that, give him the go up front. Like if it's between Eddie and him. But in saying that, Eddie is... the backup, then play it.
I think
I don't want to see Lacazette playing on.
I think though he will play, because I think it's a bit like I think it was you. I heard say this the other day, that the reason why he left him in is because of his experience, because he's looking at it and thinking, well, I've lost Partey, I've lost Tierney. Yeah, can I afford to leave out another sort of senior player like that and just be left with pure youngsters in the team, right? And also, if you are taking Granit Xhaka out in the midfield, right, and playing him as a left back, then you definitely need someone who can maybe get hold of the ball, and he's thinking maybe Lacazette can drop deep, pick the ball up and keep it for the other players to play off him. That's the only thing I can think he was thinking of, but it didn't work, did it?
No.
And it didn't work in the previous game. So to me now,
you've been ruthless with other players, be ruthless again.
Changes have to be made.
Yeah.
Changes have to be made this week. Because that is a must-win game. We lose that game, it's over. Top 4s are done. A lot of people say top 4's done already. I don't think it is. Right? We're not the favourites. Tottenham are the favourites. They're playing well. Everybody's fit in their team. They look a well-oiled.
So you've got what have you got to do? You've got to keep in with it. You've got to keep
exactly. So we've got to
keep in the contest.
Got to stick in there. You've got to stick in there and hope they do what they normally do.
Yeah.
And anything can happen, because you know what? A few games ago, everyone was saying, Arsenal top 4, couple of injuries, boom. That could happen to Tottenham as well.
Exactly. So you have to stay in there. You have to go to Southampton and win.
Stay in the race. Stay there. We've got to win. Can't afford to lose no games right now.
Everybody in this league has a game against Brighton in them. It's just so like if you look at it, Chelsea the other week lost to Brentford 4-1. Yeah. Tottenham have lost to Southampton. You know what I mean? Like when you expect him to win, there's always one of those games.
Lost to Everton
lost to Everton. United
drew
lost to Burnley, didn't they? Or something like drew with Burnley. We've all got one of those games in them. What you've got to do now, and this is what I say about Mikel. Listen, he has, in my eyes, he has messed up big time. Absolutely big time, and now he's got to win back, not just like myself and the fans and all that. He's got to do it for the club now. He has to make the right decisions to get us back on track and beat whatever happens, hook or by crook, beat Southampton. Now Southampton are in a poor run of form as well, so there's no excuses now. Get the job done. I don't care if it's a scrappy 1-0
last week.
6-0. Listen, that game again, we'll go into the Julian point. They have their centre forward back in this game. He wasn't playing. So there's a different Southampton to the one that Chelsea played. I don't expect us to go there and win it, but I expect us to go in there, put in a performance, and just get the result.
Just got to find a way now.
Find the way. That's exactly
the thing is about it now, right? Is that
keep the pressure on.
It don't matter about performances now.
No,
right? All people are going to do is judge Mikel Arteta's Arsenal at the end of the season. Where did you finish? We're getting towards that. We're in April now, mid-April. Next month is the end of the season. 3rd week in May, it's done. Right? We are coming towards the end of the season. You're going to be judged, Mikel, on what happened at the end. So it don't matter about performances. It's like we just said before, these are cup finals. It's like a cup final. When you got a cup final, you don't care how your team played. I remember going to the cup final in Millennium Stadium. We got absolutely pumped up, battered by Man United. We still won, right? It was great. Yeah, no one cares. All people care about is we won it. That's how we have to treat now till the end of the season. I don't care about performances. It's all about points. Mikel Arteta has to find a way to get us across the line.
Yeah.
right? And it's still, despite how bad the past 2 games have been, we are still only 3 points off Tottenham with a game in hand. So it's not all doom and gloom. And, it's, as well, when you're in that position where you're being chased, sometimes you get, the nerves can set in and stuff like that as well. So right now, Arsenal are still in the hunt. And we just got, like you said, we've got to stay in the hunt.
Yeah, we've got to stay in there.
Got big games coming up. Southampton away, must win. Then we go to Chelsea away.
I think we need to beat Chelsea. I know it's going to be tough.
We need to beat Chelsea. It's going to be tough, but I think even more importantly, we need not to lose that game, right? A minimum of a point from that game to me. And then Man United at home, we need to win that game. We just take at least 7 points from the next 3 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, anything less than we've had it. I think. I think if Arsenal are to have any genuine hopes of getting top 4, we need to beat Southampton and then do a madness against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Listen, it wasn't that long ago that Spurs were on the end of, there were 4 defeats on the spin going into the Man City game. 5 defeats. Everybody's going, it's 5 defeats, and they
turned it around with that result.
They produced madness. We have got to do that now to get into the top 4. We have got to produce something like that. Now whether we can or whether we can't, I don't know. Let's just hope that Chelsea go to the semi-final against Crystal Palace. It goes to extra time, tires them out a little bit before they play us on the Wednesday. I think they're playing on the Saturday, aren't they? And then they
Sunday.
Is it the Sunday?
Sunday they're playing, yeah. So it is a. So we're catching him. For us, the best time to be catching a team is when they've had to play like 2 really tough games.
If there is a time to take on Chelsea, probably not a bad time.
Yeah.
So, but
although they'll be trying to get them points because now, now they're out of the Champions League. They want to be back in it for next season as well.
Of course, and they've only got 1 trophy to go for now, which is the FA Cup. So it can work for them in disappointment or success. Is going to be a difficult game. It's no good going to that game on the back of losing to Southampton. It's as simple as that. We have to beat Southampton. It is a massive game. He has to get the decisions right on the day, and the players will have to perform.
It's going to be about the character of the players as well. You know what? We spent a lot of the show giving Mikel Arteta a lot of stick, but where I will agree with him is those players, man. You got to step up. You got to step up. It's unacceptable to lose at home to Brighton when you're chasing down a chance to get into the top 4. I feel.
I don't blame the players for.
No, I do as well. I do blame the players as well, right? Because I'm sorry. What for? You don't blame for Brighton?
No.
Why not?
Because
why not? Look how flat they were. Look how flat they were.
I agree.
Where was the intensity? What do you mean you don't blame the players?
Because
that's all Mikel Arteta told them to go walk
because
about.
All the team tactics were completely wrong. The team was all disjointed. It didn't look like cohesion.
Brighton playing Brighton.
Yeah, but Brighton,
disrespect to Brighton. They're half decent.
But when you're
team.
dominating the midfield, and control of the midfield, is like, listen, we have controlled games through our midfield in the last 4 or 5 games. When we was doing
don't
really
blame
well.
the players at all.
Not for that game, no. I do for the game against.
I do. I blame. You don't blame Lacazette for his performance. You don't blame the front. You don't blame the front 3 for their performance. You don't blame the defenders for the performance. I blame the players and the manager. It was a poor performance, all collectively, all round.
Set up to foul, Robbie.
All poor. The setup was bad, but they were still very poor. They were still very poor, lackluster. They didn't start playing until they got a goal.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, after getting that goal now, for about the last few minutes of the game, all of a sudden, then the intensity comes. Of course I blame them. Where was that?
I think
you can't just say it's Mikel Arteta.
I think
you've got to blame those players as well.
Very, very cautiously. What I don't like, and it's not the first time at Arsenal, I've seen 66 passes between Gabriel and White. 66 passes, just playing it to side to side. No,
why didn't one of them be a bit braver then and say, when I receive the 50th one, you know what, I'm going to try and find a man.
Didn't have someone in the midfield like, what happens is, you're playing to Partey, right, and he turns and breaks the lines. We didn't have that. We didn't have that option.
Well, then try and find another ball. Yeah, I mean, be a bit braver.
Midfield players
drive through, do something, right? You know what I mean? I blame those players as well, man. I blame them.
Listen, players have got a certain player, but not for me on that. Not on that game. I'm sorry.
Well, I disagree with you on that. I'm intrigued. What's your team for Saturday? Let's run through what you do.
My team.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ramsdale with goal. Cedric. I know I'm going to. I've gone against what I've been saying a little bit here, but I'm going to go White and Gabriel. Saka at left back. Putting Saka in at left back because do you know what? He's the best left back we've got at the club, in my opinion. Like Xhaka goes back into midfield, and I'm playing El Neni alongside Xhaka. Right, to give us a little bit more stability. I'm then playing Odegaard, and then I'm playing Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Pepe.
You're going for a draw, right?
No, I'm going for it.
That's not going for it, man.
Why is it not going for it then?
That's not going for it, man. Again, yeah, I mean,
well, who are you going to put? Like, look, all right, maybe I'll put
Lukonga. You're bottling it, innit?
Put Lukonga instead of
listen, man.
El Neni then.
This is where, as I said, I want to see some bravery, right? So Ramsdale in goal.
Well, go on,
Cedric right back, right? White and Gabriel. Nuno Tavares left back, right? Midfield, Xhaka, Lukonga, Odegaard. Up front, Martinelli, Nketiah, and Saka. That's my team.
So you're leaving out Smith Rowe?
Leaving out Smith Rowe. The past couple of games he's been poor. Love Smith Rowe to death, but the last couple of games he ain't been on it.
No, he hasn't. That doesn't look fit to me.
If you're not on it, you're on the bench. Simple as. It doesn't matter who you are. Even though I love him as a player, right? You know, that would be my starting lineup. Eddie's look lively. He starts. I'll take out Lacazette. Lukonga with Xhaka there, helping him out.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I'll go along with that.
And I'll start Tavares and I go for it. And I stick with our formation that's been working. We don't need to go in a free at the back and we're playing against Southampton. Right? And we go there and we stay right from the start of that game. We're brave and we're on the front foot and we go for the win. We are looking for a win in that game. Right? And we go for a win and we go to win that game. You know what I mean? I don't want to see no little half-hearted.
I want to see a big shake-up of the team. There's got to be changes up front. I just think
I've given you changes up front. I've taken out Lacazette. And
so have I. I've given you changes up front. I've gone Pepe and Martinelli and Saka.
Yeah,
is that not a very good front three?
Switching up and this and that, you know what I mean?
Listen, Saka, it's not like Saka's not... So this is the thing about when people go, I'll put Saka there. So I watched Saka when he first came into the team and I thought, cool, he can play anywhere, this kid. He's such a good
how many
back.
goals are you going to get from him from there? We're already a team that lacks goals, right? He's one of our... he's one of our chief goal scorers.
Goals. I think it's time for Pepe.
Okay. Well, listen. All right, that's a shout. Because again, when are you going to play this guy?
When you're 2-0 down against Brighton,
coming off the bench all the time, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes there. What's he ever supposed to do when you do that? What's he ever supposed to do?
I honestly think...
Why not sometimes play a player, they get in a bit of form, and then you say, right, you're in for 3 games.
Yeah, that's what I would say to Pepe. I was saying, look, I'm trusting you in this game against Southampton, Chelsea, and Man United. 3 tough games. Go and do it.
You've got to be brave. The manager has to be brave, just the same as the players have to be brave.
Yeah, whatever happens, I want to see Xhaka in the midfield. I don't care who's at left back. I'm going to say that now. I don't care who's at left back. As long as it's Xhaka in the midfield where he belongs. We need to win the midfield. They've got decent midfield players, by the way.
Yeah.
So we need to be...
Ward-Prowse and guys like this.
Yeah, you've got they've got some decent players.
When I think about it, that'll be even another reason why he probably won't play Nuno Tavares, because he'll be looking at it and thinking, I don't want to give away no stupid little free kicks or nothing like that.
Nuno Tavares cannot play for us. I'd say it again, he cannot. If you cannot trust him against a team with 7 defeats, no goals at home, how can you say, all right, I didn't trust you last week, but I'm going to trust you against Southampton? I'm sorry.
And that's what I'm saying. If Nuno Tavares gives away a free kick or something like that, you've got a guy in Ward-Prowse that can bang them in.
Yeah.
Corners, we can't be giving away loads of corners and things like that.
And if you say to me...
But I'd still play him.
If I was Nuno and he said that I was playing, I'd say I've got a back strain. I can't make it.
What's the score going to be?
I've got Easter eggs to eat.
Is it going to be a happy Easter?
No, I don't think it is. I think that I think that we're come unstuck in this game, but my heart will always overrule my head, and I think Arsenal will nick it 1-0. That's me hoping more than belief.
I'm going to go...
If I'll be honest. I never back against the Arsenal apart from when they're playing.
I'm going to go 2-1. We have to win this game, man. We have to. If we don't win this game, I think the top 4 is over. I think then we're just competing for the Europa League. So we have to win this game. Have to win this game. So I'm going to go Arsenal winning 2-1. I think it's going to be nervy. It's going to be horrible. But we get the job done. And then on to Chelsea. What do you guys think? Let us know. Leave it in the comments section. Also, don't forget to check out Who Knows Wins. You can make your pick 10. Arsenal are in that, right? You're going to pick Arsenal this week, right? But yeah, go into that. Get involved in that. Lee, thanks very much.
No, I want to see Arsenal in a yellow kit and all. I don't want to see them in this blue kit either. Playing the yellow kit.
Does that make a difference?
Yeah. I like it.
All right, we're the yellow kit.
I like it.
I like it. I want to be singing that. If I'm singing that at the end of the game, something's done really well. It's been a great day, right? Happy Easter going out to all of you guys.
Have a lovely one.
Have a lovely Easter. And we'll be back next week, of course. Chelsea. That's who we got next week. We'll probably be coming to you just after that Chelsea game. But Chelsea, that's the next big one. But come on, before the Chelsea game is irrelevant if we don't get the job done at Southampton.
Yeah.
Come on, Mikel.
Come on,
the players. Come on, you Gunners. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.